Hi, Joe with Emory Networks here. Just wanted to touch base about some new upcoming features that are going to be live to your team on Friday. It's a feature called Proofpoint Essentials. It has to do with email and the ability to encrypt email, filter email. It's going to scan your emails to make sure they're not malicious, do all kinds of really good things that help increase security while also making us be HIPAA compliant. So if you haven't received it, or if you did and you deleted it, not a big deal. You will receive a new email in the morning from Proofpoint Essentials. We want to make sure it's actually from Proofpoint Essentials by looking at the domain. The domain is the part after the @ sign. So proofpointessentials.com. That is what we're looking for. And it's going to ask us to set a password for the account that's been created for you. I want you to go ahead and click set password. And we will, in this particular case, you'll set it. I've already done that. So I'm just going to log in. So once you set your password, you're going to get this screen. You can either type in the password you set, or if you're already logged into Microsoft on your computer and in your web browser, you can click sign in with Microsoft, and it's not going to require you to type a password. It's going to log in. So this is your Proofpoint Essentials portal, which is where you're going to be able to control your email. It's very important that you bookmark this because you're going to end up here to get your quarantined emails. So Proofpoint is the number one location. It's the forward-facing area that all external emails will go into. It's going to scan them and filter them, and if it thinks that the email is dangerous or suspicious, it's going to quarantine them, or if it thinks it's spam. And this is where we're going to go to get our emails that have been accidentally quarantined that are legitimate. So at the top left, log search, inbound mail, we're going to set the status to any, so we see our entire inbox, and we're going to set the date to whatever is relevant. If you received an email today, it didn't come through, somebody calls you, and they say, hey, I sent you an email 3 hours ago and I haven't heard back. I really need an answer. Okay, you don't have it. This is where you're going to go to find it. You're going to look at today, and you're going to hit any, inbound mail, and hit search. This one's not going to show you anything because we're not live yet. But on your instance, it's going to show all the emails that you've received today up until that point. An example of what that would look like is right here. So these are all the emails that I have received in the last 7 weeks. Now, if you notice, mine looks a little different, and over here, you're going to see classifications: fraud, malware, spam, and you're going to see a threat level associated with it: very high, medium. So you're not going to be able to release every single email you get because some of those emails are going to be malicious, and I don't want you to release an email that could potentially be harmful. If you have an email that is flagged in this particular manner, that it's a high threat and it's fraud or malware or something like that, but it's actually a legitimate email that you were expecting from a client, I need you to submit a ticket or send me an email or a Teams message or call us and let me know what it is. If you email us, just take a screenshot of the email in question and we'll look it up real quick. And what we're going to do is we're going to analyze that email and see if it's actually dangerous. If it's not, and it's what we call a false positive, we'll release the email to you. If it's actually dangerous, we'll explain why and how. And chances are that person who sent it, they don't even, a lot of times they call it compromised account. The account might have been compromised, they don't even know it. That happens quite frequently. But let's say it's an email that got put into spam, okay? And you're like, it is spam, but it's one that I want. What you can do is you can click on this eyeball over here on the far right, and it's going to show you an example of that email, okay? And you're going to be able to look at it and slightly interact with it. You're going to be able to show the images. It's going to tell you, use caution. It's going to show you what the images are, okay? And then at the end of it, you can go, yep, this is exactly what I was looking for. I was expecting this. You can release it. If it's something that you're not sure about, you can release a report. You can delete it. You can download it. Okay, I wouldn't recommend doing the download. I would just release it. But you can download it. That's kind of more of an admin thing. You also don't need to click into this if you don't want to. If you're like, I know what this is, I was expecting it. You can check it, go to actions. You can release from quarantine. Release and approve means that you are now releasing it and telling the system, please do not flag this email from this person as spam again, unless unless the system itself finds a reason in the future, like it has an attachment that's dangerous, for example, then it will put it in quarantine again, right? Because it has a dangerous attachment. But just a normal email from this user, it's not spam. Please let it through so I don't have to do this every time. You're going to do the release and approve. Don't worry too much about report as false positive, report as false negative. Really, release and approve is the big one that you're going to be using, or release from quarantine. Those are the two big ones. So when we're inside of this particular Proofpoint portal, and we've, again, this one's blank, so I showed you one that has some data in it. There's really only a couple settings over here that you're going to use. Don't worry about emergency inbox right now. I'll discuss that at a later date. Spam settings, you have the ability to control your own spam settings. 7's the average. If you go all the way to 2, that's basically going to let everything through. And if you go to 22 to all the way to the far right, it's basically going to block everything. So if you find yourself getting a lot of spam, you might want to move this to the right a couple notches, because we want to turn it up so you don't get as much spam. If you notice you're never getting spam, or you're getting all of your legitimate emails flagged as spam, then we're going to want to move this to the left a little bit. Don't worry so much about any of these options. Once we get used to this whole system, we'll kind of turn on some of these options for individuals so they can have a little bit more control. The digest is something that you will receive every day at 3 in the morning. The digest looks like this. The digest has a lot of the same features as logging into the portal, but this just makes it so you don't have to log into the portal. You can preview an email. You can release an email. You can do the release and approve. You can block it. Okay, so if you receive an email from a certain person or a certain company all the time, you don't want to receive it anymore. I don't want this NavPoint email anymore. I can block it. And you can also sign into your account from here as well. So here's an example of an email that... Oh, no, I deleted it. Sorry. If I click preview, it should bring up wherever it is. I don't know where it went. Sorry, my apologies. I'm not exactly sure where that particular... Oh, here it is. Here it is. So if you hit preview, this is what's going to happen. It's going to open up a new tab, and it's going to give you the email. Same options at the bottom: release and approve, block it, and show images or hide images. So that's what that's going to look like if you open it from the email, from the digest email. You'll get it every day. You can technically come in here and turn it off if you no longer want to get it. But that means that you're going to have to remember to log in and do a little bit of maintenance yourself on the emails that you're receiving, okay? I do recommend leaving it on for the time being. It's one email a day, and it's going to show all the emails, and you're going to see emails in here that get quarantined that you didn't even know about. The last one is the allow, block, and sender list. This one is where as you block emails, they're going to populate in here, and if you want to go in and unblock them, you would remove that entry. And then a safe sender list. These are the people that you've decided are getting blocked all the time that you want to make sure that they're always able to get through. So that kind of covers the digest and Proofpoint as a whole. There's 2 more features within Proofpoint that I wanted to cover. One of them is that within your Outlook, okay, so there's 2 versions of Outlook. You have the new Outlook and the old Outlook. Everybody's pretty much on the new Outlook by default. If you don't like it, you can switch to the old viewing Outlook. Originally, Microsoft said they were going to get rid of it in 2025, but there's been a lot of backlash from the community, so they're keeping it live and going and supported until 2029. We'll just do the new Outlook for now. What you're going to see is that if you get an email like this one, and you're like, man, I don't trust this email. I think it's suspicious, maybe a phishing email, and I want to have somebody take a look at it. Right here, you're going to see a button that says report this email as a phishing attempt. If you click that, it's going to take the email and it's going to report it to my team to review it, and we'll let you know if it's suspicious, malicious, phishing, so on and so forth. You can also, within the ribbon on the other email, on the old Outlook, you can report it from the ribbon. So the ribbon can also be changed by clicking this caret. You can go from classic ribbon, which is more of what we're used to the simplified ribbon, which is the new style that they're trying to do. The other change is encryption. So if you type a new email and you do a sender, a recipient, I should say, you can either type encrypt in the subject line. You don't have to do anything fancy. You don't have to do brackets, quotes, or anything. I just like to do brackets. It can be all uppercase, all lowercase. It can be first letter is capitalized. Doesn't matter as long as the word encrypt is in there. And then your subject. And what it's going to do is it's going to encrypt this email once you send it and everything about it. Okay, so if there was PHI or information that you wouldn't want anybody but the recipient to see. For HIPAA compliance, anything with PHI needs to be encrypted. The other option, if you don't want to do the encrypt in the subject line, I like doing it because it's clear and concise and there's no arguing that that email is encrypted if it's in the subject line. But if you don't want to do that, let's say you have your contents of your email, up here on your ribbon is going to be a button, Proofpoint Standard Encryption Add-in. If you press this button, it will email it and encrypt it. So do not push that button until you're ready to send. It is a send button. Pushed it, it's sending it. Preparing, and it has sent the message. That button, if you do the classic ribbon, is a little easier to see and a little bit easier to interact with. The other thing is if you don't want to use the new Outlook anymore, we can click this button. It's going to bring up a survey. Can you please tell us why? Because Microsoft wants to know why nobody wants to use it. And it's going to bring you back to kind of your classic Outlook that you're used to. Same functionality. In this particular case, Proofpoint is actually going to interact better with this version of it. If we go to the classic ribbon, you're actually going to see your report fish button in your ribbon. So that's going to be a little bit easier. You see an email, please report it using this method. Same thing for encrypting an email. We're going to type it out, go into whoever. You can type in the subject line. Okay. If you don't want to, hit the send secure. Okay. The encrypt won't work right now because we haven't turned it on until Friday. But we would hit send secure. Off it goes. It works just like the send button, but it's been encrypted. The recipient will receive a special email that will give them instructions on how to receive that email and decrypt it so they can read it. This button still exists. It's the Microsoft report fish button. Please don't use this anymore. We want to only use the report phishing button. It's very important because the report phishing button will take a copy of the email and send it to my team so we can review the email and get back to you and let you know if it's safe or not. If you have any questions, if you're lost, if you want a one-on-one session, whatever the case is, it's not working the way you think it should work, give us a call, 603-202-3200. Send us an email, support@emorynetworks.com, or my personal email address, joe.tucker@emorynetworks.com, or ping us on Teams. Whatever method is easiest and most comfortable for you. If you can include a screenshot of the issue that you're having, it helps us see the problem firsthand really quickly without having to remote in. And a lot of times we could provide guidance without even having to remote in and bother you and interrupt your day. So those are some tips to help be successful. If you do enjoy using the old Outlook over the new Outlook, one last thing is that since it's opened right here, I recommend you right click it and pin it to your taskbar. And when you do that and you close out of it, it'll be on your taskbar. Unpin the new Outlook. And then when you go to open your Outlook, it'll now open your classic version of Outlook. Okay, just that way you don't always have to switch back and forth. And if anytime you want to go back to the new look, you just click the button to switch it and off you go. I hope everybody has a great weekend and thank you so much. Take care.